came across this website, and as I was scrolling, this specific part intrigued me. It made me wonder, can we do this in Framer? So as you can see, this is the page. It starts while it has a dark background, and we have 3 text, like the first name, second name, and that name in that order. So as you can see, when I hover on top of one of the text, we have this incredible animation that moves from a dark state to this incredible colorful state, and then we have this image here on the bottom left part that reveals this film. So again, if I come again and click Dave Clark, you can see we have this other name, and it pops the film on the top right bit, and we can see the same in this part. So this is a top website by Google, and you can do this yourself. You can steal some ideas from this website and do it yourself in Framer. If you want to learn how to do this, then you need to watch this video. My name is Joe, and this is Framer Dive. Let's get this started. Let me just show you what we have. So as you can see, when I hover inside, nothing happens. So we are gonna design this from this very point. So the first thing I want you to do is notice when we look at this website is that when I hover on one of the text, we have the image coming on top, and then we also have the change in background. So notice we change from this dark background to this other kind of a blue pink background. So the first step is we're gonna design this background. So I'm gonna first of all hold F on my keyboard, and I'm gonna draw a frame. And when I draw this frame, it's, as you can see, the positioning type is set to relative. I want you to come and set it to absolute, which now it's freeform on this frame, and notice it is under the main frame. So I want to come and pin it to the left part, and pin it to the bottom, and also pin it to the right, and then pin it to the top. So now I have this frame, and I'm gonna call it my background. And then I'm gonna go to the frame. I'm gonna kill the fill so that it doesn't have any fill. And then I'm just gonna grab one of my image, and I'm gonna hold Control. I'm gonna right click it, come here to copy, and click here copy fill, or you can click Control Shift C or Command Option C if you're on a Mac. So I'm gonna click copy fill, and then I'm gonna come here to my background, and I'm gonna right click on this film part, and I'm gonna click here paste. So what we have done is we've just created a frame, and we've pasted this image inside this. So but notice what happens is that we want this frame to be our background. So I'm gonna come to my Z index here, and Z index is basically the position of your elements. So the lower the Z index, the lower it gets behind the elements. So let's give it a Z index of 0, and let's work with it like this. So the second thing I want you to do is I'm gonna kill the opacity, because remember, in the initial state we do not see anything. It's actually dark like this. So let's go back, and this is what we want. So notice there's nothing much big here, there's nothing different. So the second part is we're gonna change this main bit into a component. So why do we need to change it into a component? Basically is because a component allows us to create things called variants, meaning that this main layer, we can create different variants, or rather we can create different kind of main elements. So let me show you. So I'm gonna right click on my main, I'm gonna come here, create component, and I'm gonna call it my main component. So now as you can see, we have variant 1, and then we can click here, add a variant. So before we add another variant, I want you to come back to your home, and I'm gonna click this same image. I'm gonna click Control Copy. I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna now double click on my left and I'm gonna paste it here. So notice again, when you paste it, it comes to a relative positioning. This is normally the default state when you paste any element. So I'm gonna change the positioning to absolute positioning, and I'm gonna drag it all the way. Sorry, so make sure let me just Control Z, make sure it's not pinned to any part, and then I'm just gonna come here and drag it and position it somewhere here. Yeah, so it needs to be somewhere here, because you remember this is where we want it to be. I can make it a little bit bigger like that, and then I can adjust the corner radius by this small dot. I can just click it and give it like a corner radius of 16. I think that is good. And then we need to make sure it's pinned to the center. This is critical, and you're gonna see why we want it to be pinned to the center. So now if I view my variant, I can see this image, which is here. But remember, in our earlier state, we do not see this image. So what do we need to do? We just need to click it and minimize its opacity to 0. So it's like it's not there, but it is there. So the second bit is, I want us now to create a variant here. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna reverse what we have just done. So I'm gonna locate my Henry Dubras image, and I'm gonna make sure it has an opacity of 1 so we can see it. And then in this variant, I also want to go to the background and I make sure it has an opacity of 1. But now, as you can see, we have this image. It's kind of eating up our text. There's no contrast. So here's where we use some of the styling that we have in Framer. So I want you to come to the styles and then click this plus icon, and then you want to go to filters and click here blur. So click this blur, and notice we have kind of blurred the image or the BG frame. So then I want you to come to this blur setting, and I want you to increase the blur. So notice I want you to increase the blur till 100% to 100, and notice now it's coming as our initial website, which is this. So notice we have something similar, so it's coming in well. So now let's go to the bit where we want to put in our triggers. So we have already created the 2 variants, which is primary and the second variant. So now we just want to trigger so that when someone hovers, which is going to be our trigger, it's going to switch us from this primary variant to this second variant. So we're going to now come to our stack here. This is the stack that holds this text. So I'm going to hold L on my keyboard, just hold L, and then you have this arrow here, and then you want to drag it and make sure it snaps on the second variant like that. And then this thing pops up, and then I want you to interact it on mouse enter, and that's pretty good. So anytime our mouse enters this stack, it moves to variant 2, and we're gonna do the same for variant 2. We're gonna come to this stack, we're gonna hold L on our keyboard, and then we're gonna take it back to variant 1. So get L and take it back to variant 1, and then we want, when the mouse leaves, we want it to go back to the primary state. That's pretty much it. So let me show you what we have. So if I hover inside here, you can see it changes nicely. So again, we can come and make sure that in this stack, we also have this property called cursor, so that we have the web cursor as their pointer, so that someone knows that we're clicking or it's clickable. So now if I go back to my website, and I'll show you what we have. So notice we have not set this for yet, but now when I come to this Henry Dubras, you can see we have this nice revealing effect, and we just did it quickly without writing any code. So now let's see how we can, when we hover on the text, we want to make sure the 2 text that is on top of it kind of fades out, and we want to give this Henry Dubras name a different color so we can create some dramatic and even some sophisticated kind of look. So I'm gonna go back to my component. I'm gonna click here, component, and I'm gonna go to my left one, and in this bit I wanna change the color of this Henry, and I'm gonna come to my color. I'm gonna click here, pick color, and then I'm gonna just come and pick a color that is on my image. So let me see which color is good. So let me go with blue, or let me just go with a slightly better color. So let me pick pink. Yeah, I think pink is good. So, and then I'm gonna come to these other texts and this one, and I'm just gonna come and minimize the opacity to around 0.3, 0.25. I think that's good. So now what we're gonna see is when we're moving from variant 1 here to variant 2, we're gonna switch also the text colors. So let me view what I have. So if I click desktop, and if I come again, if I hover inside, you can see we have this nice animation that comes out and comes in, which looks good. So again, if you want to play with the transitions, you can just come here to the transition bit and click this variant 1 and come here to the transition. So maybe you want to it to transition slowly. I'm gonna set it to 0.9. So the good thing with transitions, you can just see or feel what looks good for you, and then you can always play with the transition to give it like a more nice transition effect. So as you can see now, it takes slightly more time, but yeah. So again, I want to now challenge you to try and do this yourself. Probably you can go pick this file and try and create the same for Dave Clark and Juni. So create it whereby when I hover inside here, it changes the background, and it also changes the text from this white color to like a focused text, and do the same for Dave. If you want to learn how to, design amazing sites in Fremont, it's very important to learn by doing, and it comes in handy when you pick up the design file yourself and try to figure out how to build it yourself. And I believe that's the best way to learn anything. So I'm gonna have the remix file for free in the description, and you can check it out and you can practice yourself. So every single week between on Monday and Fridays, I'm gonna be creating an opportunity for you to have a one-on-one with me, and I'm gonna put it as absolutely free for the first 2 people. So this is free, and I'm not charging you anything. Is only when you just are very serious and you have a problem in Fremont and you just want someone to guide you, or you want someone to share ideas with. Grab the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching till this video. I hope you learned something, and I will see you again in the next video.